they were flabbergasted. They didn't really know what was happening in the moment. And something like this to happen in the USA would have had a totally different result. Who, by the way, there was an actual club in China that actually was rejoicing of Abe's passing. Check it out. Konbanwa minasan. Kyo desu. The recent passing of Shinzo Abe is truly tragic. A man who loved Japan, sadly, his life was taken away by a lawless murderer. Rest in peace to Shinzo Abe. You will be missed, and thank you for helping Japan. And currently now, former President Donald Trump is actually in Japan paying his respects to the passing of Shinzo Abe. This incident has made me consider some things. Number one is about the security of Shinzo Abe and the police department in the Nara prefecture. Looking back on the video, you can see there is a bit of delay because it seems like the security didn't know what was going on at that moment. And I kid you not, after watching that video of Mr. Abe getting killed, in the video there were 2 shots fired, and after the first shot, there was like a 1 to 2 second delay before he shot again. And in my mind, I'm like, possibly Abe could be alive if his security team reacted better to the shooting. And even after he got shot, people were still kind of like processing what was going on. It's kind of like they were flabbergasted. They didn't really know what was happening in the moment. And something like this to happen in the USA would have had a totally different result. And I think part of this is also the cultural differences between Japan and America. In America, of course, we have a huge gun culture, and Americans are more knowledgeable to a degree or have a more sense of fear of respect for firearms. Now, I know Japanese people don't know about guns too well, so I would say their fear is more of not knowing guns as much or because they're not too familiar with guns. So if this was to happen in America, as soon as that first gunshot was fired, security would have reacted immediately to eliminate the threat or at least get Shinzo Abe out of danger. But my hypothesis is because Japan is such a safe country and things like this are not common, it's kind of like the security doesn't seem like they're at their sharpest when it comes to protecting famous people or at least politicians like Shinzo Abe. And in a situation like that, seconds matter. And literally, if they kind of knew what was going on, even a second faster, they possibly could have saved his life. And even after Abe got shot, it still seemed like security was still kind of like dwindling around, not really understanding what's going on. It seems like they were very slow to understand what was happening. And again, my hypothesis is I believe it's because Japan is just not used to dangerous threats. Again, my hypothesis is imagine you are a Japanese person who signs up to be a security guard. You probably think most of the time life is going to be easy because no one usually tries to mess with people or to assassinate or kill people in Japan. So I'd imagine because of that, the nature of the country, most security guards are probably not going to be as sharp as they should be in case an actual threat happens. And in some ways, I question, does Japan being so peaceful hurt Japan in a way? Because no one expects conflict. No one is preparing for conflict. And because of that, when conflict actually happens, it seems like most people don't know what to do when conflict arises. And recently, it just seems like Japan is becoming more unstable with a lot of the incidents that have been happening recently. There was one about the Joker on the subway who actually ended up killing a few people. And shortly after Abe being shot, there was another guy who actually said to the police that he had a gun and he was going to shoot people. And thankfully, the police arrested him. But imagine if that could have been another case, which a deranged, crazy person had a gun and went to start some trouble. And I honestly believe because of COVID-19 and these lockdowns, I believe it's made the world a bit more unstable. Combined with the fact that Japan does have enemies such as China who want to see Japan destroyed or at least taken over, I think it's about time we start questioning, should Japanese people learn how to defend themselves? Am I saying that Japan needs guns? I can't really say at the moment, though I would appreciate if Japan did, because I imagine if you have a foreign threat like China, who, by the way, there was an actual club in China that actually was rejoicing of Abe's passing. Check it out.
表情，狗的表情，都吃了。
So imagine you have a country like China who's happy about Abe's passing, who wants to eventually take over Japan. In the case of an infiltration or a war or an attack, are the Japanese people prepared mentally for that kind of conflict? Basically, there's a saying we say in the West that it's better to be a warrior in a time of peace than a gardener in the time of war. In my personal opinion, I think it's best to know how to defend yourself and never use those skills than to be in a situation where you don't know how to defend yourself and now you're in a situation that calls for self-defense. And it's happening in America too, where we have lived in peace for so long that people forget how truly dangerous the outside world really is. And I imagine if Japan had maybe a more self-awareness about the real dangers of the world, could it be possible that security in Japan could be a bit more efficient in protecting people that are supposed to protect? And seeing as Japan does have enemies that want to see Japan destroyed, I'm really wondering, is it time for the Japanese people to learn how to defend themselves? Because Lord knows, if I was in that situation with my gun, when that shooter was shooting the former prime minister, Lord knows I would have shot him dead, because what he's doing, what he did was despicable. And as soon as I heard that first gunshot, I would have went for my gun and eliminate the threat. But again, maybe because security wasn't expecting that to happen, they weren't as sharp. But I think it's time for Japan to consider that maybe Japan should start arming citizens, or at least preparing citizens to defend themselves in a time of crisis. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think I'm wrong? Do you believe Japan needs to know how to defend herself? Please leave your comments in the comment section below. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, also hit that bell as well to get notified whenever we post a video. Honto, arigatou gozaimasu. Minna, kyotsukete. じゃあね。